Welcome everyone to Cristie webinar regarding how to make your IBM Spectrum Protect environment a cloud service. We want to thank you everyone for taking your time and joining us here today. In our team from Cristie, we have me, who is Magnus Thunberg from Cristie Nordic, working as marketing and sales representative for the Swedish and Nordic market. And then I have my colleague Marianne Husted Larsen, who is a country manager of Cristie in Denmark. Hello, Marianne.
Hello, and thank you, Magnus. And thank you all for joining. Looking forward for this presentation.
And we also have Marcus Stier, who is marketing manager for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Hello, Marcus.
Yeah, hi all together. Looking forward to a great presentation. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. This session will be in listen mode only, but you're still able to write your questions and we will take them up during the presentation. So you can write them in the webinar. So this presentation will be all about how you can make your own IBM Spectrum Protect environment a multi-tenant self-service portal. It's for service providers, or it can be enterprises that needs to be able to get a complete new control of the complete environment and how to handle different users and application owners. So welcome. We will start with just a short presentation of Cristie. So Cristie, what we think we do, we are making your data available. This is what we do. So, and how to do that is by providing expertise. We have a great trained and experienced technical team, which are able to help with advisory services, support, implementation, training, and managed service and things like that. So it depends on each organization's needs, but we are always able to provide a lot of experience from several or many organizations that we have as customers today from the Nordics and the DACH region. We are working with data storage, so this means primary storage, the active data. We are doing that with data protection, and we're also archiving, and we're able to supply. It can be products in a traditional way, or it can be services provided on-prem on each customer, or it can be different kind of cloud services where we have several partners around our regions, the Nordic and the DACH. So this is a location of Cristie. So in Sweden we have 3 offices, and we have one in Oslo in Norway and one in Copenhagen in Denmark, and then we have a Cristie office in just outside Frankfurt in Germany. And in the Nordics we also have cloud providers helping us provide the cloud service for several customers, especially the SMB market is really popular in the Nordics to have a cloud provider instead of making your own or building your own data centers. In Germany, we have our colleagues from Cristie Data, who is the agent of our services provided, and they have offices and taking care of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and we are together with them in this very moment building a cloud service based on this module that we're going to show right now. So this is something we're really looking forward to. But this is just short about Cristie, and today's real main attraction is Thomas Bock, who is CEO and owner of Cloud Portal Utility. So I will change presentation to Thomas Bock, and you are able to do your presentation of yourself. Welcome very much, Thomas Bock. I will provide you your presentation.
Thank you very much, Magnus and Cristie team, for this introduction. It's good to know that I'm today the main attraction. Maybe that puts a little bit pressure on my side. But as Magnus mentioned, I'm the CEO of the company Wow. We're a software development company, and the solution we provide to the market is called Cloudtility. And it is a self-service portal software that sits right on top of IBM Spectrum Protect, and that's the solution that this webinar will be all about. So, data protection as a service. We help our customers go to market with enterprise class data protection. The engine we sit on top of is Spectrum Protect, and there is, in my mind, no doubt in the world that Spectrum Protect is the most scalable platform and one of the most robust and secure platforms for protecting business critical data. And that's the reason why we, for many years, has been focusing on providing our cloud portal software on top of IBM Spectrum Protect. We've been working together with IBM for years, and our Wow Cloudtility, the solution, is in the Ready for IBM Storage program. That means that it's been validated by IBM, and actually we have gone one step further with IBM. IBM is reselling our solution worldwide with an IBM part number in Passport Advantage for those of you who know the IBM product portfolio. So that's a very close relation we have with IBM. And what we do is helping Spectrum Protect customers transforming their environment into a cloud utility. And we work in two scenarios. We work with the managed service providers, helping them set up a public or hybrid cloud data protection cloud environment. And the managed service providers, you know, they come in different flavors. So the MSPs and CSPs. So the managed service providers, the cloud service providers, it's IBM business partners, it's telecommunication companies, hosting providers, system integrators, all types of companies that are providing public clouds to the market. What we are seeing though is that there is a big change going on in the enterprise space. So we are helping large enterprise customers transforming into from a more traditional way of providing IT to the internal organization and into becoming an internal service provider, providing private and hybrid cloud solutions to their organizations. And we work with customers within all segments in the markets like education, healthcare, public sector, and really we can help large enterprise companies in any industry. So IBM is a very strong partner for us in our go-to-market model, but we also do have a great partner network worldwide that we work with. In the Nordics and in Germany, Cristie is one of these great partners, and I just want to mention that Cristie Nordic is specialized around Cloudtility, so they know all about presenting the solution, they know all about installing the solution, configuration of the solution, and the maintenance and support of the solution. So I can definitely recommend Cristie Nordic as a great partner of ours, and they have quite a lot Cloudtility instances running in their customer base. So the real backbone of Cloudtility is a multi-tenant, a secure multi-tenant model that gives our customers the ability to really reflect the organization of their business. And that is a very strong way to kind of get plug and play functionality on top of your Spectrum Protect environment. So let's start with a diagram showing what that could look like for a managed service provider. A managed service provider would typically have 1, 2, or 3 different data centers, and these could be their own data centers. It could be cloud data centers, but that's kind of what we have on the top level: 1, 2, or 3 data centers, and in each data center you would have 1 or more Spectrum Protect server instances. And now, next to your Spectrum Protect environment, you install the Cloudtility solution, you connect your Spectrum Protect servers, and now you have the ability to kind of start deploying the structure of your organization. And for a managed service provider, it could look like this. On the left side, we have some internal systems that they are protecting. Internal systems are now divided into critical systems that has 2 server groups, and other systems which has 3 server groups. And now typically in the server group tenants here, if you will, that's where you would start activating and scheduling the backups. In the middle tenant in this diagram, we have a service provider direct business. And for this service provider in this example, the direct business is divided into some larger clients that are on-prem clients that have their own Spectrum Protect on-prem in-house at the customer site. So we have an on-prem client 1, on-prem client 2, and on-prem client 3, and they have Spectrum Protect at their own location. So again, very important when you look at this diagram, the flexibility of how the real world looks like and how you can reflect it within Cloudtility is really strong, because you can have Spectrum Protect sitting anywhere in this diagram on any of the tenants. That also means that you could potentially have on some of the clients, on some of the tenants, you could have a Spectrum Protect server backing up locally, and then through replication you could get a secure copy, a copy of the data secured in the managed service provider data center. So that was the on-prem clients. And then the direct business has another tenant, which is cloud clients, and there are in this diagram there are 3 clients there, and those are the clients that are backing up without Spectrum Protect servers on-prem, simply with a Spectrum Protect client installed on their production servers. They are backing up directly into the data center. And then on the right-hand side, there is a chance or an opportunity for managed service providers to use Cloudtility to set up a channel business. And that's a really powerful go-to-market model that enables the service provider to get access to a customer base that probably belongs to somebody else. Let me give you some examples from the real world. Some of our customers are backing up hundreds of dentists, for example, in their market. These dentists all get their data protection from their application provider, their journaling system provider. And Cloudtility now enables the managed service provider to actually go out and sign up the journaling system providers as a business partner in the Cloudtility solution. Now this business partner can log in to Cloudtility and he can start adding his own customers, start backing up his own customers. He can invoice his own customers. He can provide his customers with plug and play reporting. So on all these tenants, the functionality that I will explain to you during this webinar, all the different functionalities, functions, and features provided by Cloudtility are available for all tenants. That is, though, if you want these features to be available, because that's all controlled through a roles and users administrative module within the solution. But the idea is, and also the real world is that with Cloudtility you can add users on any of these tenants. So if you have a user that only needs to look after the critical system server group 2, then you add the user on this level, and that's all he can see in this whole hierarchical model. So on all levels, users can be added with the privileges that you as system owner wants the users to have. So this is a setup that could reflect how the real world looks like for a managed service provider. The next slide is the same tool, but shown with the view of an enterprise business. Typically, enterprise businesses are not talking about customers and partners and resellers. They could be structured like this, with some critical systems that are divided into database systems and other systems, and then we have several server groups for each of these tenants. Then they have other systems, that's the blue in the middle, that again is divided in this case in databases and other systems, and then there are some server groups. And then on the right hand side, this could be a global company that are providing these services to perhaps different parts of the world. For each of the parts, you know, Europe and US. For Europe, there could be different countries. For each country, there could be different departments with different server groups. So again, the ability to reflect the organization as it is, and the ability to provide users a login on the level that will give the user insight to only what he needs to see, no less, no more. And also the ability to provide plug and play reporting. A lot of our customers on Cloudtility don't necessarily bring all of their customers inside Cloudtility, but on each tenant you can add one or more, as many email addresses as needed, to provide your users with daily emails that will show the status of the daily backups of exactly their environment. So automation is what we do with the Cloudtility. As mentioned, we sit on top of Spectrum Protect, and I believe if you know how to run Spectrum Protect, if you don't, then I'm sure that Cristie will help you and can help you. But if you know how to run Spectrum Protect from the administration side, you will be able to automate a lot of the tasks and features that are about backing up your data, protecting business critical data, archiving critical data, retrieving critical data, restoring critical data. That can all be automated within Spectrum Protect. What we do with Cloudtility, the features we provide, they are more about the business. Cloudtility support and automates a feature set which is totally connected and supporting the line of business. As mentioned, these features are available for users, not necessarily all features for all users, and that's the next thing I will talk a little bit about. These are all example features, and this is a kind of a list of a lot of the features available through Cloudtility, and I've picked some of these. I'm not going to talk about all of this, but I've chosen a few of the features that I will go through and talk about during this session. So the first thing is the user administration. Once you have set up your tenants, once you have set up your organization as it is with all the tenants, the whole distribution model, the hierarchical distribution model, once you have done that, you will go into the roles part of the Cloudtility solution, and in the roles part of the solution, you can define the roles that are needed to provide your different types of users with accessing what they need to access. No more, no less. Example roles could be, you know, administrators that may have, master administrators that have access to everything. And then you may have some administrators at your partner site or your customer tenants that are administrator, but with less privileges than the master administrator. You may have a CFO or finance people who needs to log into Cloudtility, not necessarily to see daily status and stuff like that, but they would be logging in with the privileges so that they can actually operate the contracts of the customers, and that's a capability of Cloudtility, that for each of your customers or each of your departments, you can actually define contracts and add subscriptions that can automate subscription-based recurring billing. And that could be a finance role. You may have salespeople that needs to log in on different customer tenants that will have access to maybe trending reports, how is the growth of their customers, different types of information that is good for the sales rep before he actually goes out on a customer meeting. You could have a partner role. A partner role would be with privileges so that a partner logs in. This could be the journaling system provider for the dentist. He would log in, and now he actually have privileges that allows him to add his customers, to activate and schedule the backups of his customers. That gives him privileges to create his own subscriptions, to automate his billing of his customers. That could be a partner role. And then a customer role, or could be kind of a view only role. And what you do now, after you have defined your roles, they are now available through a drop-down box when you add new users. So if you want to add a customer user on on-prem client 1 as an example, you simply click on users and you add a new user. You give the user a name, you provide an email address, and then you select the right appropriate role for this user, and that could be a customer role. And now you save the new user, and automatically a welcoming email will now be sent out to the user, where there's a link, and he will add his first time login. He will be provided with a screen where he adds his password for logging in. So adding people in Cloudtility is really simple. And I could say at this point in time, of course, there is a thorough kind of activity lock in Cloudtility, so that all committing actions from any users in the system will be logged, so that you will always be able to prove that a certain user did a certain action on a specific date. So this audit log is part of Cloudtility, and of course very important when you have a shared solution that are shared among a lot of users that have different privileges. Very important to prove who did what at what time. Plug and play reporting is also part of the solution. As soon as you have created all of your tenants, your distribution model, or your hierarchical organizational structure, and you have then connected your Spectrum Protect servers to Cloudtility, now you will be provided with a list of nodes that resides on the Spectrum Protect server. You can now make a selection of these nodes and assign them to a business unit. And now you make another selection of nodes and assign those to another business unit. It's really simple to get started with Cloudtility, even if you've been a Spectrum Protect user for a long time and have an existing environment with hundreds or maybe even thousands of nodes. And once you have assigned nodes to a business unit, immediately you will have access to plug and play reporting. And there are different types of report in Cloudtility. You will have kind of a daily overview where you see how much data in total is backed up, how many nodes, how much data is archived, how much data has been transferred for the backups and recovery, different types of data as a daily overview. And then of course you will have a daily status of all of the nodes, all of the backup nodes in the system. And you can actually make your setting of these report, because it's not necessarily likely important for all of you. Some of you have focus on some things. Some of your servers needs attention on specific things. You know, maybe if files are not backed up because they're they have been locked by a certain process, or maybe that's important for some servers. For other servers, it could be other issues that are important. You will be able to kind of set your default settings for your reports, and that will then be reflected throughout the multi-tenant model. But if you then have a tenant, that could be a department, it could be a customer, it could be any tenant that has different requirements, then you will be able to change the default settings throughout the hierarchical model. And now you will get a list of nodes that are, you know, some of them may be green because they are okay, no problems. Some of them may be red because there are some alerts that need some action. And these are some of these reports are interactive reports where you can actually select one or more items on your report, and now you can have your support staff going in to make comments on these nodes. Maybe they are restarting the scheduler service for the nodes to get them running again, or maybe they do something else, and they can actually document through the Cloudtility what they are doing, and those comments will be saved in Cloudtility so that next time the node pops up with an alert, you will actually be able to see what has previously been a challenge with this node, who actually did something with the issue, and now that's a way of getting contact to somebody who knows how to fix the issue. So that's kind of the daily status, and you will also have trending graphs so that you see the consumption over time for nodes, or for a whole server group, or for a whole customer. So on all tenants, you will see you will have access to trending graphs, and also access to performance over time, so that you can choose, you know, I want to see for this specific server, I want to see how has the backups performed over the past 3 months, or maybe the past 6 months. Very easy, you can get a graph up. That's actually part of the upper right corner of this solution right now, where you see the last 3 months for a specific node, and you see that there are 2 errors in this period of time. And of course, you can now click on each of these dates. You will be able to click to see more details on the backup on a certain date, which is also important for perhaps some of you guys are being audited, yearly audit, and you have the auditors coming in and they want to see proof that a certain server was backed up at a certain time, and that will be easy for you with Cloudtility to access the daily report for the date that the auditor wants to see. So a lot of different types of reporting, also more reports than what you see in this screen, but that's all plug and play. It's kind of set and forget, where you go in and you do the settings of how you want to define report alerts and stuff, and then it kind of is plug and play, working for all of your tenants. Subscription-based recurring billing is another important part of Cloudtility. The way you can define the billing of your tenants, whether this is kind of external billing of customers or internal chargeback of your different departments that are utilizing the backup service from the internal IT department, you will be able to define subscriptions, which is kind of a pricing definitions, where you can set a price on backed up data, a price on archived data. Maybe you want to set a price on transferred data. Maybe you want to set a fixed price on different nodes. different types of nodes. If it's a file server node, maybe that is one price for you guys. If it's an application node, maybe that's a different price. Maybe you charge per actual gigabyte in a subscription. That's how you define a pay-as-you-go subscription. You charge a certain amount for each gigabyte every month. Maybe you want to define bundles where you charge a fixed monthly price for up to 100 gigabyte or up to 10 terabytes. And now you can define what is the cost of extra gigabytes, or maybe extra gigabytes are not charged. Maybe this is a subscription that when the customer reaches the maximum, it could be 100 gigabytes, it will automatically add another 100 gigabytes at the price you have set for a bundle of 100 gigabytes. So it's extremely flexible how you can define different types of subscriptions. And now the trick is that some of our service providers are providing these services to even thousands of end customers. Some of these customers may be very small customers, like the dentist as an example. A lot of these dentists are backing up less than 20 gigabytes. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to kind of charge every month a few gigabytes times the price of a gigabyte. So these service providers would typically make maybe a 20 gigabyte subscription or a 50 gigabyte subscription for the small customers with a fixed monthly price, and maybe they charge them 3 or 6 or 12 months ahead. So now you have a subscription that can be used for all your small customers. Another subscription is perhaps tailored for large enterprise customers. Another 3 subscriptions could be subscriptions that are matching the requirements of your invoicing of a channel network. Maybe you have silver, gold, and platinum partners with 3 different subscriptions. So you define these subscriptions, and now when you add a new customer, you will simply create a new contract and you will activate the subscription that matches the type of customer or partner that you are adding, or the department, or whatever you are adding in Cloudtility. The tenant you're adding will be, you will activate a subscription on the tenant. And now over time, when price changes, and I'm not saying if, I'm saying when the prices of the services change, and because they do, then you do not have to go down and reconfigure each and every tenant. Now you have to enter, if it's the 50 gigabyte solution that changes in price, you go to the 50 gigabyte subscription, and that's where you make the change, and that will now be reflected on all of your tenants that are activated with a 50 gigabyte subscription. And as you see in this diagram, there are kind of there are like 4 steps in the creation of automated billing. First of all, you need to create 1 or more subscriptions with the pricing definitions that matches your business. Now for each of your tenants, you will create a contract and activate the subscriptions needed to invoice the different tenants. And now a monthly billing output is automatically generated on a certain day. Each month you can set whatever date you need the output to be generated, but the billing output from Cloudtility is a CSV or JSON file that will contain all billing lines, very nicely organized with, what is the business unit name for each billing line, what is the billing date, what is the billing start date, and what is the billing end date for this specific billing line, because some billing lines may be monthly, some billing lines may be quarterly, some billing lines may be yearly. And then of course there will be like a product code, a product name for the billing line, could be backup as a service, whatever you call your products in your solution. And now there will be an amount, a price, an item price, and then a total line price. And then there will be a note that can be taken right out of the CSV or JSON file and put into your actual invoice. So that's another thing. Cloutility is not creating actual invoices. It is creating thousands of billing lines in seconds from a managed service provider business, data protection as a service business. Now these billing lines needs to be entered into your financial system, because of course nobody's interested in having a third-party solution that now starts creating invoices outside your existing invoicing system. So we kind of make the billing lines available for you automatically, and we generate thousands of billing lines in seconds. You would need to then enter these billing lines into your ERP platform, and we have made that easy, and I'll get a little bit back to that, but that data is available through CSV or JSON format. And also this data can be fetched through a RESTful API, so that the integration between Cloutility billing and your ERP solution can be totally automated through the REST API. The last step in billing that you can do with Cloutility is that once you have created the actual invoices in your financial system, whether this is Navision or SAP or whatever you're using for creating invoices, you will be able to send those invoices again through a REST API in Cloutility. You will be able to put those invoices back into Cloutility. And if you do that, now these invoices will be available for your customers in Cloutility. If the customers have privileges to this, they would be able to go in and see their historical invoices. And these invoices could also be sent automatically from Cloutility and to the customers. Cloutility will be looking at when does new invoices arrive, and once they arrive, they will automatically be sent to the customers. So a really flexible model for billing automation. And if you are doing a channel business, you will be able to do the billing from the top level and down to your channel, and you will be able to provide your channel, your business partners, access to using the same billing module to create their own subscriptions to automate their billing of their customers. The OEM branding capabilities, if you're interested in going to market through a channel of partners, Cloutility, of course, is part of Cloutility, of course, is OEM branding of all tenants. So if some of your tenants are partners that goes to market kind of with your solution, in this case, we have an IBM branded Cloutility solution. And on the right hand side, there is a channel business where, in this case, IBM goes to market through some business partners. This is Microsoft and Amazon. It's probably not going to happen, right? But actually, this Cloutility solution could be on all tenants branded like IBM, except down on the business partner tenants. These tenants and all descendant tenants could be branded as somebody else. So in this case, Microsoft is providing, and Amazon, they are providing a backup as a service solution based on the IBM infrastructure and Cloutility solution, but their customers will see a Microsoft and an Amazon branded solution. So IBM will be hidden. So OEM branding for the channel management is a great feature of this solution for those of our customers who are providing services through a network of resellers.
So Thomas, we have a question regarding this. So that means that if you're a service provider, you could sort of add your own reseller network.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
And each of these resellers are actually adding their customers, they're activating backups, they're scheduling backups, they are supporting their customers via self-service in Cloutility. And that means actually that you can be providing a Spectrum Protect as a service solution to potentially thousands of customers with very few people in your data center, because you have a sales force standing by and selling your solution at each of your reseller tenants, and you have support teams in each of your resellers. So you can actually make, you know, your reseller agreements in a way so that all first level support and all the billing of all these tenants and all of, you know, everything, you know, all the operation, the daily operations around these customers, you can leave that as self-service to your resellers through the Cloudtility features and functions.
So then it will be the same thing if you're a enterprise owning retail stores, for example. So maybe one retail store called doing clothes or having one brand and another doing I don't know, kitchen stuff, having another brand, so they can sort of have the centralized enterprise backup environment, and then they provide for each company their own
Absolutely.
brand.
And that's I think it's a very valid statement. You know, for travel agencies that has, you know, agencies spread across a country or spread across Europe, or that could be a retail business, or we also have customers within you know, governments and within US federal, for example. We have customers that are providing IT services just like a service provider, but this is a US federal customer in one example, providing the data protection services to different departments of defense. So they kind of get the ability to segregate these departments and the server groups for each of the departments and stuff. They kind of treat each of these departments as customers that can log in and do self-service. So they segregate the customer data and everything, but still consolidating into a centralized storage and data protection engine.
Okay, yes. So then it's easy for global enterprises to really segregate the different parts of the world, whatever they have, branch offices or stores or things like that.
Yes.
And also easy to calculate the cost for an enterprise each unit.
Absolutely. Yeah. The next couple of slides is around around a feature which is also extremely important, because one thing is backing up data. The next thing is that not all data should stay in your storage systems or in your Spectrum Protect infrastructure. Sometimes users do want some of the data deleted, and how is that done? How is that documented, so that you can prove at a later point in time that, you know, these data is deleted because somebody actually asked for it. In Cloudtility, we have created a data deletion workflow where you will be able to provide some of your end users. These could be customer users, these could be application owners, departmental users, whatever. Some of these users can have access to requesting deletion of data. So if you have that privilege, you will be able to check a node, or you will be able to check one or more file spaces within a node, or maybe a virtual machine backed up by TSM for VE or Spectrum Protect for VE. And now you click request the deletion of data, you can make a comment, and now you request the deletion of this data. Maybe you provide a comment. I think the next slide actually shows a request deletion. Yes. So you choose the date for your deletion, and as a service provider, whether you're an internal organization or an external service provider, you can set a time span where customers cannot delete data. So maybe customers should not be able to delete data until 3 months ahead, or 30 days maybe, or 2 weeks. So that's a rule you can set. So now the customer can choose the first date that or the specific date where data needs to be deleted, in this case 1st of September 2018, and then you can make a comment, and this customer or this user has entered this data was for test purpose only and can be deleted when test is over, beginning of September 2018. And now you can decide whether schedules should actually be removed from this node immediately after after the delete request has been approved. And also you need to check that you actually understand and accept that that data is actually, that this action will actually go ahead and delete data at the point in time you have chosen. So that's users that has privileges to request deletion of data. Other users now have approved privileges. So you can have a customer user requesting deletion, and then another customer, another user at the same customer that needs to approve. And then you could have an intermediate partner that needs to approve as well. And finally, there may be a person at the data center, at the service provider that needs to approve. As soon as all required approvers have approved, then the data is marked for deletion at the date selected. And on the date of deletion, you can actually have Cloudtility delete the data automatically all the way through to Spectrum Protect. This could be a hard deletion of all data, or it could be a decommissioning. That's all settings you do in Cloudtility. And now, finally, you will have this workflow documented in a delete request report, as you see on this slide. So you can always prove that, you know, these data was actually requested deleted by, in this case, by me, by Thomas Bach. It was approved, okay, that was by me, and then the data was actually deleted on a certain date. So now you have this report that at any point in time can be found to prove that this data is no longer in the backup system, and that's because of this, this, and this. Another feature in Cloudtility is tagging of business units and backup nodes, and there is a tags administration part of Cloudtility where you can, you know, define your own tags. Maybe you have backup nodes that needs to be tagged with the VIP or attention tag. Maybe you have VIP customers, business units. So you can tag any business unit and any node with the tags that you need. In this case, you see that there are 3 business units that are tagged with attention. So we have the on-prem client 3, and we have the premium partner 2, client 2, and we have business partner 2. They are 3 business units tagged with attention. Now I can go and search. Shift F in Cloudtility will pop up. There will be a pop-up search prompt that where you can search for any business unit, for any users, for any node names, whatever you have in Cloudtility. But you can also search for tags. So if I type in attention, then the result would be, in this case that I just show you, all other tenants will be removed, and you will actually see the 3 tenants tagged by attention. And if there was any nodes tagged by attention, those nodes would show up as well, of course. This slide shows an actual search in a live system, a search for attention, and you see that it found 1 business unit with attention, and it found 1 consumption unit, which is a backup node, that are tagged with attention. And you can actually use these tags in reports as well. So the report that could be nodes in all of your hierarchical model, you can actually you can go and configure a report that across different types of business units will create a report that contains only nodes, backup nodes that are tagged with attention, as an example. So the tagging of backup nodes and business units is a really powerful and strong tool to access the hierarchical structure you have in a even more flexible way. Cloudtility, and this is probably important for a lot of you guys, if not now, then potentially in the future. Any type of integration with Cloudtility is possible, because Cloudtility is a backend surrounded by a RESTful API. In this case, we have the Cloudtility backend in the middle of this diagram, and then the user interface, the Cloudtility graphical user interface, of course, comes with a solution when you install it. But if you guys have a need to kind of integrate with your own portals of any kind, or with your own billing application, or with your own support system, then integration is I mean, it's still development, but it's easy because you can access all endpoints are available through a REST API. So you can retrieve data, you can push data, everything we do in our own user interface that you will have together with Cloudtility, all of the interactions we do through this user interface, you can actually do that through REST. So, I mean, you can even build your own mobile application if you have a requirement for that, or any type of integration is possible because everything is available through REST. Nothing lacks in that API. So we are getting close to the end of this presentation, and kind of a summary of what to look out for in your own organization, or perhaps what to look out for when you talk to your customers. If there is a need to kind of segregate departments, segregate business units of any type, customers, resellers, whatever, and still having these tenants utilizing a centralized infrastructure, then definitely Cloudtility will solve the problem. If anybody talks about billing automation of Spectrum Protect showback or chargeback, then Cloudtility is an extremely flexible engine for that. If any requirements for easy to understand, easy to use self-service, modern way of kind of retrieving the data that you need, then Cloudtility is the solution. Running a channel business on top of Spectrum Protect, Cloudtility will help you. We didn't talk much about that, but we can actually also provide visibility into all the Spectrum Protect servers. There is kind of an administrative interface and an administrative console where users can access all the Spectrum or the Spectrum Protect servers, where a specific user has a username and password for that specific Spectrum Protect server because he's administering this server. He would actually be able to log onto that server through Cloudtility, so he would have access to all the different Spectrum Protect servers that he's managing, whether they are in a single location, whether they're spread across multiple customer sites, whatever. Then Cloudtility could be that single pane of glass that will help him connect to these servers, and you can store your favorite daily commands that you run on a daily basis, stuff like that. So a nice tool to help with visibility into multiple Spectrum Protect servers. Data deletion, workflow, and other kind of user interaction workflows is part of this. And finally, if there is a need to integrate anything in Spectrum Protect with any application, setting up Cloudtility in between will provide a REST API where anything almost is possible via REST. So those were some of the business needs to look out for, and for those of you who wants to take the next step, maybe that next step could be getting access to an online meeting where Cristie Nordic and I will showcase and actually live demo the solution for you. If you like what you see, then the second step from now could be setting up a POC. The installation of Cloudtility, running the Cloudtility as a POC is extremely easy. The installation and configuration is typically done in a few hours. The actual installation could be in minutes or it's typically between 15 and 30 minutes, and then we spend some time in configuration of your Cloudtility instance, and now you're running a POC, and finally take that solution live, or perhaps we'll see each other later. So this was what I had prepared for this day, for today's webinar. And I don't know, Magnus, you could potentially tell me if there is any questions, or we could just leave it open for a couple of minutes for any last questions. I want to thank you from my side for being invited to do this presentation. Thank you, Magnus and the Cristie team for this, and thank you to all the participants that have been listening for the past hour. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Yeah, I think the time is running out, and I will just wrap it up. I think that we will have everybody will have a chance to ask questions after this session as well, and we will get in contact with everyone, of course. So I will just tell you that Cloudtility is a really important part of our services that we're providing together with the backup solutions, and we are facing a really great interest in all regions, both for enterprises and service providers, to really make the daily work easy. Cloudtility is part of our Cristie Backup Solution, and Cristie Backup Solution, I will just mention short to everyone that it's a dynamic way of using a private cloud lookalike feature on site. So this means that you are able to have your tools available in your own data center, managed by yourself, and we will provide it with a dynamic monthly based service inside your data center. So this is really popular, and especially we've seen a partnership that is really great together with service providers, where you have customers coming, maybe sometimes losing customers, but data volumes is always going up and down. So it's really important to have a solution that is dynamic and comparable to actual usage of the backup environment. I would also like to invite everyone to be part of our Cristie blog. You can subscribe on that one, and then you will get news information regarding data protection, storage and archiving. So it's on cristie.se or cristie.dk site or cristie.no. So you're welcome to join our blog. So finally, after this session, you will get a survey, so you're able to ask questions there as well, and we will get in contact with you. And we are really happy to see so many joining this webinar, and we feel that the possibilities, as said, to make the daily backup work easier for both the backup administration and the user by themselves with a self-service possibilities. It's a really huge demand out on the market, and this is a tool to provide it. So we call it part of our easy management. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope this was interesting for all of you, and we wish you a really great day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.